Hey, thanks, Terminalists. Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to explore a really interesting approach to innovation. It's kind of like flipping the script.
Yeah, it's not about adding more. It's about being strategic and stripping things down, simplifying.
So it's innovation by subtraction. I like that.
Exactly. And get this, it's working wonders for companies like, Tesla and Lyft are really shaking things up.
Makes sense they'd be on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
And we've got a real expert to guide us on this deep dive. Jon McNeill, right.
You got it. He was the president of Tesla and COO of Lyft, so he knows a thing or two about this stuff.
For sure. He recently shared a ton of insights at the World Business Forum. So let's get into it. What were some of the key takeaways?
Well, one of the big things McNeill was talking about was shifting our mindset. Stop thinking about just adding features, complexity layers,
So instead of just making things bigger, it's about
getting to the core of it. What's the essence? Sometimes the real innovation comes from stripping things down to the bare bone.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we start with this whole subtraction thing?
Well, McNeill, he really emphasizes ambitious goals, right? Not just tiny improvements. We're talking order of magnitude big goals.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
To illustrate this, he talked about Tesla back in 2017.
Oh, yeah, 2017. That was a tough time for them, right?
Yeah, understatement. They were practically on the verge of bankruptcy.
Wow.
But instead of, just giving up, they did something really bold. Set this crazy goal to increase online sales for the Model S by, get this, 20-fold.
20. Wow. That's ambitious. But why that specific goal?
It forced them to think outside the box, really push them to innovate. You see, online sales were a big bottleneck for them, so tackling that could unlock a whole new level of growth.
So how'd they manage to do it? Achieve that goal, I mean.
Simplification. They took the whole online car buying process, which was so complicated, and they streamlined it, slashed it down. Think about it. Buying a car online used to be this crazy ordeal.
Oh, I know. So many steps.
Right. Well, Tesla, they took it from 63 clicks to buy a Model S down to just 10.
Whoa. Okay, I get it. That's pretty dramatic. But I gotta admit, I'm still a little skeptical. I mean, how does making things simpler actually lead to innovation?
Good question. That's where McNeill's 5-step process comes in. He lays out exactly how this radical simplification can unlock real innovation.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me step 1.
Step 1 is question every requirement. You got to challenge every assumption, every must-have that's built into a process.
But no sacred cows.
Exactly. For everything except, laws of physics, regulations, you ask why.
So really getting to the heart of why things are done a certain way.
Yeah. McNeill actually calls these unquestioned requirements tribal myths.
Tribal myths.
Yeah. They probably started as, good ideas, right? But then over time, they become these unquestioned mandates. Just, that's how we've always done it.
Right. Can you give me an example of a tribal myth, I mean?
Sure. Imagine a company, right? They require, tons of approvals for even tiny expenses.
Bureaucracy.
Exactly. Might have made sense at some point to, control costs. But now it's just a huge bottleneck. Slows everything down, kills morale. By questioning that, they might realize, hey, we don't need this anymore. Give employees more freedom. Boom, things get more efficient. People are happier.
Yeah, I get it. Makes sense. Challenging those assumptions, you can uncover some serious breakthroughs. Okay, what's step 2?
Step 2 is delete every step you can. We're getting ruthless here.
Yeah.
You're taking a machete to your processes.
Yeah.
Eliminate anything that doesn't directly benefit the customer.
No mercy.
None. If it's just fluff, gotta go. McNeill actually recommends, get a spreadsheet, track every single step.
Okay, getting serious.
And for each one, you ask, does this actually add value for the customer? If not, get rid of it. He even says, if you haven't had to add back at least 10% of what you initially cut, you haven't cut deep enough.
Wow. Okay, so slash and burn. Got it.
Yeah.
What's next?
Step 3 is simplifying and optimizing. Now that you've got this leaner process, you fine-tune it. Make it as smooth and efficient as possible.
So cut out the fat, now make the muscle work better.
Exactly. McNeill told a great story about this from Tesla's Model 3 production. They tried to over-automate everything. Figured that's the way to efficiency, right?
Makes sense at first.
Total backfire. Ended up building cars by hand, in a tent, no less.
In a tent?
What? Yeah, not ideal, but it was a turning point. They had to go back to basics, And in doing that, they really understood the process, found even more ways to simplify.
Interesting. Had to take a step back to move forward. Okay, so they simplified and optimized. What's step 4?
Apply speed, Crank things up, see where it breaks.
A stress test for your processes.
Exactly. McNeill believes that by increasing speed, you expose weaknesses. And that forces you to, refine even more.
Interesting. So you have to push it to the limit to make it better.
Exactly. Especially in today's world, everything moves so fast, right? He talks a lot about cash velocity.
Cash velocity? What's that?
Think about how fast money is moving through your business. By streamlining things, speeding them up, you can make that cash flow faster. That's a huge advantage.
Oh, yeah. The faster the cash is moving, the more you can invest and grow.
Right. So that brings us to the final step, and this might seem a little counterintuitive. Automate, but only at the end.
Wait, I thought automation was like the holy grail of efficiency.
It can be, but you got to be strategic about it. McNeill's point is don't automate until you truly understand a process, until it's repeatable, scalable.
So we're not jumping into automation right away.
Nope. He uses a great analogy. He says automation is like bolts in the floor.
Bolts in the floor.
Yeah. Once you automate something, especially with code, it's hard to change. It gets kind of stuck, inflexible, like those tribal myths we were talking about.
I love that.
Yeah.
So automation can be good, but only at the right time after you've got the process down pat. Okay, so far we've got McNeill's 5 steps for innovation by subtraction. Anything else?
Actually, yeah. He has 3 more principles. They're all about fostering a culture of innovation, just as important as the 5 steps.
Cool. Let's hear them.
The first is to think holistically about the customer journey. He uses the example of GM's early approach to EVs. They built great cars, but missed a key part of the customer experience.
What was that?
Charging. Didn't think about how and where people would charge their cars. Tesla, though, they nailed it.
Yeah, the supercharger network. They understood the big picture, addressed a real pain point.
Exactly. That's thinking about the whole customer journey, from start to finish.
Great example. Okay, what's the second principle?
Focus. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick the 2 or 3 things that really matter.
Prioritization. Choose your battles.
Yep. And McNeill says the CEO needs to be laser focused on those priorities. It creates urgency, accountability.
I bet. Okay, so we've got think holistically and focus. What's the third one?
Experience the product as your customer does. Eat your own dog food, basically.
Love that one.
Yeah.
Get out of the bubble. See things from the customer's perspective.
Totally. It's easy to get caught up in, the inner workings of things, lose sight of how it's actually perceived. You need that firsthand experience to really understand the customer journey.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Now, all of this, it's not just for big companies, right? How does this apply to us, to all the thinkstrumentalists out there?
That's the beauty of it. These principles, they work for any business, any project, even our personal lives.
Wow, powerful stuff. So we can all benefit from simplifying, from subtracting.
Absolutely. Think about a goal you're working towards or a project. Could you apply these ideas to, make it more efficient, more effective?
It's interesting. We usually think about adding more resources, more steps, more complexity. But what if the answer is actually taking things away?
That's the heart of it. That's innovation by subtraction.
It really is a mind shift, isn't it? For all of us thinkstrumentalists out there, it's like a reminder.
Yeah.
Sometimes less really is more.
Yeah, for sure. It's about getting focused on what really, truly matters and, getting rid of the rest. It's easy to get caught up in adding all these bells and whistles,
Right.
And you lose sight of the core purpose, the essence of what you're actually trying to achieve.
You get distracted by the shiny objects and forget about the foundation.
Exactly. And that's, where this whole idea of innovation by subtraction comes in. It's about rediscovering that foundation, that core value. And then you build from there with intention, clarity.
So thinkstrumentalists, I think this is something to really keep in mind, right? As you're, navigating the complexities of work and life. The power of subtraction. It's not about doing less. It's about achieving more with less.
Yeah, absolutely. Challenge those assumptions. Simplify your processes. And focus, focus, focus. You might be surprised what you can actually accomplish when you strip away the unnecessary.
It's a great reminder. Innovation isn't always about adding more. Sometimes it's about refining, focusing, getting to that essence of what you're trying to do, and getting rid of anything that gets in the way.
Exactly. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most innovative, the ones that, cut through all the noise, get straight to the heart of it.
Love it. So thinkstrumentalist, as you go about your week, think about how you might apply these principles. Maybe there's a process you can streamline, a goal you can clarify, or an experience you can improve by taking away. rather than adding.
Yeah, and you never know, right? You might just stumble upon, like, your next big breakthrough.
Exactly. Sometimes less is truly more. Remember that. Focus on what really matters. Strip away the unnecessary. You might unlock like a whole new level of innovation and effectiveness. It's like decluttering, to make room for something really awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Create space for those aha moments, those breakthroughs you get when you look at things differently.
Right. Shift your perspective. And McNeill's ideas, this innovation by subtraction, they really give us the tools to do that.
It's like a roadmap, yeah. Not just for business, but for life, Simplify things, make them better.
So thinkstrumentalists, as we wrap up here, remember these principles. Question assumptions, streamline processes, and, most importantly,
focus on what really matters.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to experiment a little, right?
Yeah.
Try new things. Embrace this idea of subtraction.
Yeah, sometimes taking away is the key to unlock something truly amazing.
Well said. And remember, stay thinkstrumental.